Hi, 8th graders. Welcome back. We're still in section 2.6, and now we're going to talk about a special kind of compound inequality called a conjunction. Conjunction, junction, what's your function? Absolutely right. So, yes, there are conjunctions in math, and in this case, there are three things I want you to remember about conjunctions. Number one, you have two inequalities, and when you graph them, they must overlap. So this applies to the graph. So when you graph them, if you have two inequalities that you have put on a number line and you know this is a conjunction you are graphing, then that graph must overlap. Must. No question about it. Now, number two, you're going to see the word "and" in a lot of cases to indicate that it's definitely an overlap or an intersection. Now, in some of the ones that we're doing in example 2, they're not going to show you the word and that's okay. As long as you see one long sentence, just like you see in example A. See how it's one long sentence, 4 is less than or equal to x plus 2, which is less than or equal to 8. This is an understood and. We don't see the word and, so it's understood to be an and problem. When we get the other connector word is or. If you don't see the word or in connecting your two inequality statements together, then it is not going to be the other kind of compound inequality. It's actually going to be a conjunction. So conjunctions, you could see the word and, you might just see one long sentence that shows two inequality symbols, and that's automatically a conjunction. Okay. Let's see, number 3, it says if there's no connector word there, which is what I was trying to tell you, it is understood to be a conjunction, and therefore you would use the word and. You would use the word and. Okay, so let me erase this because I want as much room as I can, and we're going to solve this. Okay, we need to get x by itself, and you see that there's actually two inequalities here. The first inequality says 4 is less than or equal to x plus 2. And the second inequality says x plus 2 is also less than or equal to 8. Those are your two inequalities. And it's understood that they are connected with the word and. It's understood. It's not written there, but it's understood that if you don't see a connector word, it's a conjunction. Okay? Hopefully I'm making myself really clear on that. All right. Now I'm going to show you two ways to do this, and it's really up to you to decide how you would like to proceed. The first way, most students really like the first way that I do this. What I do is I create kind of 3 alleyways here, and I'm going to bring down the less than or equal to symbols. Okay? Now notice here in the middle you've got this x plus 2. Well, I just want x there. I don't want anything attached to it. So go back to basics. How do you undo the addition of 2? Yes, you would subtract 2. You would subtract 2 in every single alley. Okay? So we're going to do 4 minus 2, which is 2. X plus 2, and then we take away 2, gives us just x, and then 8 minus 2 is 6. So what we're saying here is that my first number, which is my lower number, we're going to start and include the number 2, and we're going to finish up at 6, including 6, because there's that equal to sign. So if we do that, we go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then I'm going to do filled in circle over 2, filled in circle over 6, and connect them. And there's my overlap piece. That's what I'm looking for. Okay? Now, if you choose to separate it out, because visually it helps you to do that, that's fine. You can do that. You still are going to subtract 2 from each side. So we'll have 2 is less than or equal to x, or in other words, x is greater than or equal to 2. And we're going to subtract 2 again, and we've got x is less than or equal to 6. So when you graph this, you're going to graph them 2 different ways. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you're showing, oh, well, x can be greater than or equal to 2. Got it. Oh, x is also less than or equal to 6. And you're looking for the overlap piece where one piece is on top of the other. And so you go, oh, we're starting 2 is on both lines, on up to 6 being on both lines, and everything in between. I'm looking for that overlap piece there, because that's the answer that's on both lines. That's the answer that's on both lines. I tend to find this one to be a little bit easier. I don't know about you, if that's your impression after listening to that, but I find this one to be just a little bit easier and more direct to getting you the answer. So this seems a little longer to me. I mean, if that's how you see it, definitely do it. And it's not a judgment at all. Do what works for you. All right, let's flip to that next page. So here we've got another one. We've got a little bit more work to do. And, you know, if you're doing that first way I showed you, you want to create some alleyways here, okay? And remember, we don't want to know what 2x plus 3 is. We want to know just what x is equal to. Now, because there's a number not only added to the x, but also multiplied to the x, we're going to do this in 2 steps. First step, get rid of 3. So we're going to do that in all 3 alleys, okay? So we've got -8 is less than or equal to 2x, because those 3's canceled, is less than or equal to 6. Okay, now we need to create alleys again, because we're not quite done yet. So we need to divide everything by 2. Okay, so then we'll have -4 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 3. Okay, now I need to drag my number line down just a little bit. Let's see if I can grab that guy and pull it down. There we go. You guys write smaller than I do. I don't know why I write so big. Okay, so now our smaller number is first, and then there's our less thans. That's why I know this is going to end up being an overlap, because we have our lower number is first. Now, if you had just a little hint, let me give you kind of an idea of what to look for when it's incorrect. If they wrote it like this, this is not possible, okay? If they started with the larger number and, you know, they put the 3 on the left first, and then they did 3 is less than x, which is also less than -4, that's not possible. That's not going to end up being a conjunction at all. And I'm going to show you that. Let me go ahead and graph that for you so you see what that looks like, okay? Now this part right here, this says that technically 3 is less than or equal to x, or in other words, x is bigger than 3. So here you've got 0, 1, 2, 3. Here you would have x is bigger than 3. And then here you have x is less than or equal to -4. 1, 2, 3. Here's -4. Here's x is less than -4. They don't overlap. So this is not possible. So what I'm trying to tell you, as far as this is concerned, okay, is the smaller number comes first. When symbol is less than or equal to or less than, okay? If that doesn't happen, which is what I tried to show you here, they put the bigger number first and then the less than, you're not going to end up with any kind of overlap. So hopefully that's resonating with you, and if I've totally confused you, let me just back it up, rewind me, listen to it again, and then otherwise I'll explain it again in class. Okay, so this is a way to trick you, okay? So this is really tricky if you see that situation. We don't have that situation. We still need to graph this situation, and they did a great job. They started with the smaller number, and then we've got our less than symbols, and we finished with our bigger number. That's great. This is going to definitely be an overlap. Definitely, it will. So we'll start with -4, -3, -2, -1. Here's 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then because we have less than or equal to, we're going to do filled in circles over the -4 and over the +3, and then we're going to connect them. Okay, I know this is going to work because they started with the smaller number and used the less than symbols. If they do like I showed you here, start with the bigger number of the two numbers given, they start with the bigger number but still use less than, remember that's a trick. It's not possible. I just showed you how it graphs out. They don't overlap. And if they don't overlap, it's a null set and there's no solution. The overlap means those are the answers that are on both lines, and that's your answer. Okay, let's flip to the next page. Okay, we've got letter C, which is, we've got our smaller number first, -9, and then we've got less than x minus 10, less than -5. Okay, so they're using their less thans, that's great. And we got to get x by itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to add 10 to all three areas. Okay, so -9 plus 10 is 1, and that's less than x, which is less than 5. Okay, so let's take a look at it. We're using less than symbols, so we need that smaller number to be first. It's a 1, and the other number, the bigger number, is to the right. That's perfect. That means this definitely will overlap. It will. So we'll do 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. This time, see that there's no equal to signs? You're going to do an open circle. Open circle over 1, open circle over 5, and connect it. Okay? And that means all the answers between 1 and 5 will work in each of those inequalities. Not the 1, not the 5, but everything in between those numbers, anything outside of those numbers won't work, solution-wise. Okay? So that's one where we don't fill in the circles because there's no equal to sign. All right, let's see here. Letter D, let me leave this one for you. This is going to be just like example B, because you're going to have to do 2 steps. You got to first remove the 5, then remove the 3. Okay, so see what you can do with that, and I'll check that tomorrow and see how well you did with that. So I can't remember if I gave you a code word or not, but I think I said conch shell, I think. If that was example 1's word, then example 2's word will be starfish. Okay? So I will see you tomorrow. Thanks for listening.